Okay, hello and welcome to Over the Wall, a Chinese Dota podcast featuring me, Dan Offen, aka Mr. Big Jams, and LeonArthur, our Chinese region expert. Leon, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Just had a good dinner. Very excited to talk about Chinese Dota again. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I've got a cat there who is sleeping as always in my room. He's kept me very distracted the past couple of weeks, so you're going to have to very much fill me in on everything that's going on. Let's kick off by talking about, I guess, where the shuffle is at the moment. Has there been a lot of movement since the last episode?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Actually, yeah, I think so. Um, there's one that I think I could say.
Mm-hmm.
I think IG fans gotta be a little bit careful with your emotion.
Okay,
Yeah,
with your
yeah.
emotions, is
I
that a
yeah. I think one of the very likable player in IG is going.
okay?
So yeah, it's quite a big news, I think.
Is he retiring, or we don't have to talk about who it is, but is he retiring or moving to another team?
Not sure, but as far as I know, I think he left voluntarily.
Okay.
So it's not like a kick or something. Yeah, I think most likely taking a break or needing some fresh breath of air.
Does that leave a little bit of a void? Because IG are a big team; they've been together for a long time. I mean, I don't know if you know who they're looking for to replace the person who's leaving, because we don't know, because you can't say who the person who's leaving is. So that's if you can't say that, then you can't say who's replacing them.
True.
Is it going to be a big experienced player who then moves? Is it going to unsettle things, or is it going to be a newer player? So it's not a big deal.
Mm, yeah, I think the other player is also rather experienced. He has one minor, he has one major as well. So yeah, look to be a pretty on par or even maybe in some sense could be a better replacement. So we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on to, I guess, what the meat is of this week in the couple of weeks in China, which is the ex-Elephant roster, who last week we were speaking about them possibly sticking together, possibly kind of beginning to crumble. They have crumbled. Talk to me about what happened there. Why have Elephant ended up falling apart?
Yeah, so this information was revealed by the one of the co-founder of Elephant. His name is PDD. It's not the PDD that we know, but the PDD. He's a long-time LL League of Legends veteran, and he has been investing in different teams. So he basically said on stream that basically the capital, the investment was really huge for Elephant, and because of their poor results in TI, and also how recruiting this Dota division didn't really help them in their business. Because Elephant, they are a live streaming platform actually, and they
All right.
didn't have too much of a positive result for their business side of things, and they have to still dump so much money, and they just thought that it wasn't worth it, and it's not going to be worth it, so they pulled out, and then eventually they just void all the contracts with the players, so the players are free to go wherever they want to.
And with the players, I mean, they're free from that conversation. What you say is that they're not no longer with a team. Obviously, players can stick together without a team. Is there any chance that any of those players will stick together, or are they going to completely go their separate ways?
As far as what I heard the RNG is in talk with maybe, and then I'm not sure if FY is in the picture, but RNG has already confirmed that. I mean, multiple sources, mainly Charlie sources actually, he has confirmed that Felix Alba will be staying in RNG as a four. So very likely the FY and also O11 are gonna end up teamless right now. So that's what the Chinese community are speculating.
When something like this happens, this is five very experienced, very talented players suddenly becoming available. And I imagine when this kind of happened, the shuffle in China was relatively far along. Would you agree with that? That this has happened, and obviously teams are now beginning to already have been confirmed. So
Yeah,
is that the case?
yeah, I think so.
So therefore, if five very good, very experienced players suddenly become available, has that changed things? Is stuff looking now less set than it was?
I think it definitely will shake things up, especially for those teams that are lacking in certain position, especially a team like Aster that have been, pretty much publicly announced that they have been wanting a position 2 and 5. That's why a lot of people are saying that X Nova and maybe are very likely going to Aster. But what I've heard is that Aster might not have the financial power to really support this too. That's why RNG came into the picture that is currently in talk with maybe. So very likely, I think, because RNG themselves, they are not confirmed on the position 5 yet. So I would say there is a huge, very likely scenario that X Nova will end up playing with maybe. It's just a matter of RNG or Aster, I think.
Okay. Are there any other teams in the mix? Because you mentioned, I want to talk about financial power and salaries in it in a moment. I think that's going to be the main focus of this episode, by the way, if anyone's listening at home. But you mentioned, are there any other teams, therefore, that have the financial power to look at those players, or is it kind of just those ones? Obviously, PSG LGD do, but they're a confirmed 5. Are there any other players in the mix?
I think Extreme Gaming is kind of a dark horse in this entire shuffle. So to those who haven't heard, we have got DY, and also PYW, the 2 support duo from Vichy Gaming, moving to Extreme Gaming. Let's just call that XG. And also Paparazzi very recently registered himself under XG as well. So I heard that XG, the founder behind or the owner behind is some really rich person as well. So I think they could be another powerhouse in the Chinese scene. And also, I think Vichy Gaming at the initial period after TI, there were some rumors saying that Vichy Gaming might not have enough capital to run for another year. And then there was a rumor saying there might be new owner coming into Vichy Gaming.
Okay.
So right, yeah. And then the latest rumor is that Vichy Gaming has recruited some of the players from eHome, knowingly XM, and also the position 4 player Xiaoma. So I guess Vichy Gaming might really have welcome a new owner. So yeah, seems like the China is not as dangerous as we imagined initially.
And on that idea of financials, you mentioned to me a couple of days ago on Discord that there's a lot of feeling in China at the moment about salaries being more important than success. And also, I've noticed this as well by the way people talk about the Chinese region. Often in the salaries offered to players, often in the transfer fees offered to players. How fair do you think, as a criticism of what's going on in China, that is at the moment?
Oh, I think this is a huge argument on itself. Like we have all known, maybe we don't know a figure yet, but recently there is one interview with Nothing to Say. So basically saying that what he's receiving from China LGD right now is 20 times more than the highest salary that he has received from a Malaysia team.
Oh wow, okay. To be fair on
Yeah.
that comment, his Malaysian teams were never that big. He was never on a huge Malaysian team, so that is a
Yeah,
step
that's
up
true also.
to be fair. But that is crazy. Do you think that's affecting how players are seeing the game? Are they becoming more interested in maybe making bad trades for bigger salaries and not making competitive teams, or do you not think that's a fair criticism?
I think that's definitely fair. I think when salaries becomes so high, it is definitely inevitably taking a lot of attention from the players. And this is exactly what one of the higher manager in VG Gaming, he posted on Weibo and saying that nowadays it feels like if you don't offer a player millions of annual salary, it feels like there's something wrong. And it feels like it couldn't ask you don't even have what it takes to offer a player anymore. Like I think that's how the entire salary situation is going on China is very inflated in my opinion, because you have this very big financial power coming in all of a suddenly knowing which was Elephant last year, and then you have Aster, and then you have another one. Yeah, mainly Elephant and Aster. I think they were like pumping a lot of money into the market, and all of a sudden everyone seems like they want to demand a way higher salary than before.
Do you think there's any benefits in that? Because obviously people often speak about demands of money being high as a bad thing. And obviously the good thing is that players in China are now richer and more stable. Do you think it's led to a difference in how people see their teams? Because they must be sticking with their teams for longer periods of time and being less fickle and moving around if the salaries are higher. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I think in some sense, because in China, most of the contracts terms are relatively longer than other regions. So I remember way back then they like to sign this 5 years contract. For example, maybe had a 5 years contract with LGD. Like this is something that's unheard of from other region.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is why they are willing to pay you more as well, because you have longer duration term, and and it gives some room for the organization to trade and sell the contracts as well. But right now, I feel like that's just with this salary, this amount of salary, I think there's just a lot of power on the players' hands. Yeah, and it's making the organization work a lot harder than before.
You're not a financial analyst, obviously, but do you have any idea what's causing this influx of money? Is it just because I know the Chinese streaming platforms are huge at the moment. You're getting 20 million viewers sometimes for some people. Is it just that, or is there anything else going on?
Yeah, speaking about this is a very good point. Then, so in China, they have two kinds of contract for the players. So there's the economic contract, there's the player contract. So the economic contract is more related to the streaming side of things. So a lot of times, big streaming platform in China like Douyu and also Huya, they will sign a huge contract with the pro players, and obviously they will offer salary as well. So I think in some sense, organization might get a cut from there. I'm not sure about this, but I do know that there's these two different kind of contracts in play, which is something that I don't know if any other region have these kind of things.
That's interesting. A follow-on question I wanted to ask, and what I spoke about earlier, is the idea of friendship and teams and players playing together because they like each other, which is something we hear a lot about in EU and NA, that certain players play together for long periods because they like each other and they want to stick together regardless of the money that might mean, or maybe even the success that might mean. Is that the case in this Chinese shuffle, that certain duos or trios of players are sticking together because of friendship, or is it very much now a professional and financial decision for everyone?
I like this friendship concept thing. I think is not that huge in China. Not as huge as especially Europe, like we heard here around from OG. I think it's more like whatever team that can give them a best shot in winning the entire thing. I think that they would go for it. Which is why sometimes I think you rather want to stick with people that you have found success with together, right? For example, maybe an FY and then X Noah in the play as well. Like obviously they have a strong bond together and they want to play together, and also because they are still very good right now. Not like anyone is washed up already. So it feels to me that it's very rational or reasonable for them to want to stick together. And another one is for extreme gaming, like Paparazzi, DY, and also PYW. They have found success together in Vichy Gaming. So I think they want, like, again, they are still at their peak right now. And especially seems like Paparazzi recently switched to mid and he has been owning in the EU pops. He's rank 1 right now. So I think he's really getting ready to back on the top form. So I'm personally very looking forward to that. But if you talk about as the friendship Dota explicitly in China, I don't think it's as big as EU or anywhere else.
Are there any stories in this shuffle of people kind of breaking up or coming together, being reunited, that people know as being? Because in the EU, obviously, there's the most famous one is No Tail Fly being broken up and put together, and even in this shuffle, there are kind of little couples of stories like VP breaking apart despite apparently being very good friends and all that stuff. In this shuffle, are there any little personal stories that people can pick up on and follow into the next season? Or is it just that VG thing?
I couldn't think of this so much, but I do hear something from DY. So DY recently he was streaming. He has been streaming a lot, and then he was asked the question that when Paparazzi left the team to Elephant, was there any bad blood in between? So DY was saying that, well, I've been working with him for so many years, and if he has a much better offer, I would give him my blessing instead of hating on him to go for a much better option. So I think in that case, I think their player relationship, they are kept very professional. So not much of a bad blood, not much of a betrayal or some sort. So yeah, I think in China people treat this thing very professionally because everyone, the goal is the same, is to win TI. Yeah, because it's so noble for them. Everything is to win TI. So yeah, everything is made for the best decision for it.
Let's talk about the players still being trapped in EU. I know, so who's trapped in EU still? Is it all the Elephant players and some Vici players? Who's still there?
Yeah, so mainly the VG players and the Elephant players are still there. So Paparazzi in his stream, he said that if he couldn't come back before 26th of November, he might be stuck there for half a year.
Oh, right. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what are the details behind it, but that's the words he said. So yeah, I do hope that he could come back to China and play, because otherwise, I don't know what's going to happen to the team and himself too. So Elephant and Vichy are still there, and as far as as far as I've known, I think Aster was stuck in Netherlands. They went there for a flight transit and then they caught COVID again, so they are stuck there again, and they have to self quarantine for a while to turn negative and then go back to China. And especially how strict China has been with this entry, I think it seems like is the it seems like Aster is taking the hardest hit out of all Chinese team.
So what happens if they can't come home? Because the DPC is starting in under a month now, not long at all. There's a high
Yeah.
possibility then we have the three biggest Chinese teams in Europe not able to play in the Chinese DPC. What do you think is going to happen if you had to guess or know?
I don't know anything, so I will have to guess. So I think first one, which is the best news, is that they managed to return to China, but then they still have to do the self quarantine, so they will have to play in hotel with some kind of desktop or laptop. This is what Paparazzi said as well. He said that if he managed to go back to China, he'll be playing with laptop. That's what he says. Yeah. Another one would be, I guess another one would be maybe DPC delay, but that's such a huge thing to do, so I'm not sure how likely it will happen to delay the entire season. I haven't heard anything about this, so I can't tell. And the worst scenario is definitely missing it out, and I don't know how are you going to salvage it in the second season or third season. So, I can't imagine.
It's going to be very. I imagine the organisations could maybe play with substitutes for a little bit, or they'd delay it a couple of weeks. But if like you say, Paparazzi misses that 29th deadline and then can't get back until half a year, that would I assume happen to all those players. Maybe they end up playing in. Could you see a scenario where they end up playing in EU?
Yeah, and I mean, I definitely could, because I think Valve has been very proactive and hands-on on managing these things. And Valve is never afraid to adapt on the fly as well. So I think they'll probably find some ways to take care of this Chinese team, because it's not just one or two players, it's like 2.5 teams right there in Romania. So yeah. I'm looking forward to see how Valve is gonna handle this thing.
Say Valve does the sort of thing that Valve often does and doesn't provide any particular official guidance. Would you see, and these teams are stuck in EU, so we've got, say, the whole of Elephant, they maybe reunite, form a little stack because they're the only players there. Vici stick around. Could you see them playing EU Open qualifiers and trying to get into EU Division 2?
I mean, that's so absurd this talk about the possibility, but it seems like right now anything could happen, and I definitely won't deny this possibility. I think there is definitely one. And I'm really looking forward to see if that really is the case. That's gonna be crazy.
Okay, then let's see. Let's hope that happens because that'd be really funny. Let's close up then by talking about the Chinese meta at the moment. Obviously, Chinese pubs are going on, and also Chinese players in EU pubs. How I know we'll probably have a patch before the DPC season, but in this kind of post TI era, how do you think China's playing differently to other regions at the moment?
Wow, this is such a tough question. Honestly, I have no idea. I haven't been watching much of the Chinese game because like there's nothing happening right now. Everyone is just playing some pubs. All I can tell you is about C pubs. I've never heard of. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the meta right there, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Because honestly, like I don't see much player streaming as well from the pro player side, because they are probably busy screaming for to prepare for DPC right now. So honestly, yeah, I wish I could give some info, but I really don't.
What's happening in C pubs then? Because C and China are often not that dissimilar.
That's true.
Is there what's happening there that people in EU and NA might not be aware of?
Not so much. I feel like everyone is still playing the meta that is sort of similar to TI, because nothing has changes yet. We still don't have the big patch drop. I hope we don't, because we are approaching the open qualifier, and it would be a big one if the patch suddenly drops. So I think we are still playing this patch, and I think we're gonna see a lot of things that are similar to TI. Yeah, especially the last week of TI, I would say, like those Armlet on Mars and stuff like that, and maybe some IO offlane as well. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, that's close to all we've got then. So, any closing thoughts? Any little stories that you'd like to share this week that people might be interested in?
Mm, Let me think about it. Not much, to be honest, except that, I think the biggest concern right now, or the curiosity of everyone right now, is where maybe an X Nova is gonna go, and
Oh
also the
yes,
rest of Elephant as well.
I was going to ask about. I
Yeah,
forgot to ask about Xnova because he's been rumored to join close to every team
every
across
region basically.
every region, every
Yeah.
team. Where do you think? Where's he ending up now? What's sort of his vibe?
Um, I mean, the good thing about X Nova is that I don't think there will be any team that is not interested in him. It's just whether or not they have the capability of grabbing him. And honestly, I wouldn't be completely shocked if he moves to another region that he has never been to. But I think his priority probably is gonna stick with maybe, because I know that maybe is the hottest potato or community right now in China. Every teams want him. It's just matter or not they can grab him and can match the salary that he wants. So yeah, I think that's gonna be the biggest things that's gonna be sorted out very very soon, because we are approaching the deadline for the roster drop very very soon. Just 4 to 5 days away. Yeah,
Yeah, very very
I'm
soon.
excited to see where X Nova are gonna end up.
Okay. Well, we can leave it there then. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time. You can follow me on Twitter, as always, as at DanielArthur, and Arthur, you can follow him on Twitter at LeonArthur DOTA. If you want to support us on Patreon, you can find the Position 6 Patreon in the episode link as well. Leon, any final thoughts before we close up?
No, nothing much. It's always enjoyable to talk to you. Hope you have a good week ahead, and everyone else as well.
Brilliant. Well, let's hope for that. That's all one can hope for. Goodbye. We'll see you very, very soon.